is just fantastic. Captain's log, subdate 210909.8. We're finally able to dock with the supply ship and then take everything from them. We might put the supply ship's crew's bodies into the recyc so we can feed them to Bork. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with an email I received after This Week at Twitter, or twat, from last week. And why should anyone listen your advice whether should some have kids, Omegon? I'm certain you have none, so piss off. Right, so I didn't fully understand the context of this, because at the time they had yet to actually insert that copy-paste comment into YouTube, so I didn't know where they were referring to. I believe I was in a VC at the time. I saw the email, had a chuckle, and replied with, "I'm sorry, I'm going to need context for this email to make sense." Notice, the spelling's correct, my grammar is not. Because I'm really bad, okay? I write how I speak, and how I speak makes very little sense. So they've replied, "Stop talking about parenting when you know nothing of it, like idiot iDubbbz. Firstly, I have no idea what iDubbbz does on his channel beyond Content Constable, and I stopped watching him quite a while ago. Second, when it comes to the discussion of discussing a topic you have no authority over, for someone to tell me I cannot talk about it, you are using the appeal to authority fallacy. Just because someone's a parent doesn't make them an expert on being a parent. If you know someone who's a bad parent, there's your example. I am surrounded every day by people who are themselves parents, in the form of 2 of my sisters and their 3 between them daughters. I, because I'm the only male in the household, am that male figure. While not a father, and I'll never be a father, I am quite content stepping in when I need to step in, either to teach the children a valuable lesson, or play guitar with them because they're getting okay, alright, or just to be that extra strong figure in their life that they need. And telling me I cannot discuss a topic on my channel makes me want to do it more. Maybe I'll make an entire series and call it Bad Parenting 101. How about that? So I've replied, and I can thank my phone's autocorrect for this part. No, I'd rather get the context from your remarks, so I can give you a more concise response, which is correct. But I know the context, it's fine now. Perhaps stop lashing out and acting like only, this is meant to be parents, can be the authority on subjects and grow up. You didn't reply afterwards, so I assume you went to go lick your balls somewhere. Now the context for this came from last week's This Week at Twitter, and not from the political recap stream I did with Trups, which intrigues me because within that we spoke about Texas's more recent abortion law. I'm making it quite clear I have no opinion on this subject, but it is in the political sphere, so it is something we have to address, kinda. But of course, the subject is complex and we didn't have the time to go through all of it as intricately as I'm sure someone would have wanted. For the person who sent me this email, and I rarely get these kind of emails, I will talk about whatever I want to talk about. If someone is wrong, they're wrong. If someone's a bad parent, they are a bad parent, and if I think they can be better, I will tell them they can be better. I will not be bossed about by somebody in DMs or via email from somebody who not only cannot spell, but seems to be so frustrated they're incapable of stringing a complete and coherent sentence together. You could probably argue now, English is not my first language, but my point still stands. I wanted the context, and you couldn't help but act like a child. Do you want your mother? Do you need some breast milk? If not, grow up. So next we're going to go to a little bit of a debate. Feeding dogs cheese. Now I remember seeing something like this in Star Trek Enterprise, and to be honest, I am known from time to time to feed dogs cheese, but not cheese from a block or grated, but in the form of doggy treats. It is well known dogs love cheese, with many people using cheese as a training method to get dogs to obey. A recent debate, as I mentioned, has been ongoing after a lady called Molly Quell, a US expat who now lives and works in the Netherlands, revealed on Twitter that she'd walked into her kitchen to discover something highly egregious. Her other half was grating cheese directly into the dog's mouth. Now, I myself have tried this in the past when incredibly drunk. It doesn't work as well unless you're using one of the smaller hand ones, because you risk it missing your mouth entirely. As we're not a dog, we're not going to get on the floor unless we're highly drunk and start picking bits up, because we risk picking up other things if the floor's not pristine. With her complaint being that dogs are notoriously messy eaters, and now there is cheese everywhere. The dog himself is covered in cheese. Now, this debate has led to people taking and drawing a line in the sand saying, you should never feed your dog cheese, and you should give your dog all the cheese. My view is give the dog all the nums the dog wants. This is the dog, by the way. As a consequence of Molly Quell putting out her opinion on this subject, people have been sending her pictures. Her partner, more notably, this. By the way, looking at that floor, and there being mess everywhere, you are aware that the dog will clean up most of it and then you can just mop up afterwards, and it takes like a minute. A minute is a charitable number, by the way. It will take 3 seconds for that dog to annihilate that cheese. Honestly, your dog will become a black hole for all food. I do, though, for the sake of people who themselves have dogs, so yes, appeal to authority if you like. What would you do when it came to treating your dog some cheese? I personally would make it into a little ball and give it to the dog as a treat. But grating now, especially knowing the reaction of some, sounds like a fantastic idea. Do let me know in the comments and drive up that engagement. Next, we're going to go to It's a Gundam. If you don't follow them on YouTube or on Twitter, please consider doing so, linked in the pinned comment down below. Many YouTube users, myself included, have fallen prey to the restricting of videos, with various reasons being used, either because not appropriate for children, even though we all mark our content as not for children, or because they believe we have incorrectly tagged it within monetization. I myself, over the course of the last 2 years, have had about 20 videos, age restricted, even though they themselves, based on the reasons they've given me, do not fall in line with what they claim. They once tried to sting me for nudity in a video where my avatar was on the screen, fully clothed, talking for 10 minutes. No images, no writing, just talking about J.K. Rowling, whatever. For It's a Gundam, we go to their Twitter, YouTube. Hey, It's a Gundam. We age restricted all your videos with a puppet for sexual content, but this is cool. Now, it is one image, but they did follow up with an image of many people emulating the exact same thing. And if you go to each and every single video, not only are they not age restricted, but they're also monetized in some form, which is quite inconsistent, but also at the same time typical of YouTube. When you have a set of rules and people clickbait the living feck out of your own system by doing things that are sexually suggestive in the thumbnail, can you honestly tell me a puppet is vastly more offensive or sexual than these? If you're going to use this nonsensical rule to restrict content, at least apply it equally, because then people like me won't have anything to complain about, and the exhibition of stupid people won't feature YouTube as often as it does. And I'm still salty about the warning, okay? To our final subject, we actually go to something we've covered before within this series concerning a comedian who does very dark humor called Roy Chubby Brown. Roy Chubby Brown was trending twice this week. Twice. Because he has been cancelled-ish, in the sense that a venue he has played at, Sheffield City Hall, for 30 years, where he has actually sold the venue out almost every single time. A man who was meant to play there 5 nights has been pulled out by Sheffield City Hall because they are not overly fond of the kind of jokes he makes, even though he sells out the venue every single time. Now, with this venue, they believe his jokes do not align, and because of the complaints they received, they are right to do so in their mind, even though they're ignoring the big thing here of he sells out the venue every single time and has done for 30 plus years. Why is his show now unsuitable? Which is something he himself has said within a statement he has actually put out, saying now in these strange times of snowflakes and political correctness, it has been decided I am no longer welcome. Why now is my question. Why now is my show unsuitable after 30 years at the City Hall? With him adding that he understands the content of his show is not to everyone's taste, but if easily offended, please stay away. And that's actually an important point. If you don't like what someone says, why bother engaging with them? Let them entertain the people they entertain. He's hardly going to be around forever. Some have argued that because the venue is publicly funded, they might want to be more selective. But as he sells out the venue and has done for 30 years, surely the word publicly funded means very little, unless those who fund it are not fans of him. Because it can be argued surely those that go to watch him could just help by funding it as well. There are a number of MPs who are celebrating this one more notably, for Sheffield, Brightside and Hillsborough. Okay, way to push that progressive banner, I guess. As this entire incident risks making Roy Chubby Brown a martyr for free speech, I would have thought people would be a bit careful when it comes to who it is they choose to deplatform, for the reasons they choose to, especially considering how many years he has played at that venue. And people had tried to do it in other areas of the country. It didn't work. It may well work here, but it has to be done carefully. I personally don't think anyone should be deplatformed in the slightest. Let them speak, and let those that support them. Let those that criticize. By removing him from a place he has played to for so long, he will just play somewhere else and more attention will go his way and he'll play bigger venues for it. Anyway, as we're done, I'd like to know what you think, so please do let me know in the comments down below. I shall be streaming some fishing tonight. If I don't see you there on Twitch, link also down below. Have a fantastic day and thank you all very much for listening.